ready to get started here. This is Pro Talks. My name is Chad Boblet. I'm not the pro. You guys are the pro. I just collect information from you all and I redistribute it and share it with you guys. And that's what I'm doing today. All right. I've got a screen down there. I don't need this. The good thing is if the crowd remains small like this, I can answer questions really easy, and so feel free to interrupt me, stop me, and we'll talk. All right, getting started here. Going the extra mile. Going the extra mile. I've done this talking point several times, but it changes over the years, and I update it and I add to it. But it's going the extra mile, getting your authority, working with freight brokers. It's a subject that I talk about all the time on online Facebook. If anybody knows me from Rate Per Mile Masters, this and getting rates is what I talk about mostly. We'll switch on to the next one. All right, there we go. So I added this Tesla to the picture to see if anybody would throw water bottles at me. Nobody, so we don't have any Tesla big time haters yet, right? All right, but anyway, again, my name is Chad Boblet. I'm the owner of Boblet Brothers. It's a trucking company, and owner-operator carrier out of Lexington, Kentucky. And actually, the reason I threw the picture in there is the picture is where I grew up. It's actually where I grew up. You don't have to come from money to get into trucking, to start your own trucking company. I didn't have nothing. This is where I lived at until the Marine Corps recruiter showed up at my house when I was 18, and I went to Parris Island and did the Marine Corps. But being raised up with no money did make me different than a lot of other people. It made me want money and made me desire money probably more than others. And the thrill of getting my authority really opened the door up to how much more money I could get. So growing up and not having any money meant that I had to go out and work hard from the age of 12 years old until I did go to the Marine Corps, work really hard. The farmers used to show up at this trailer all the time and tell my mom, we need your son Chad to go work on these farms, and would work tobacco fields all around this city, in this state, because that's what we do in Kentucky is tobacco. But from the age of 12, I was always working. Always did, and I worked hard. If I wanted a girlfriend, I needed good clothes, and the only way I could get good clothes was go out and make my own money, and that's what I did. So working hard, I want to relay that to getting your authority and getting started in trucking. If that's the route you ever decide to go, is to go from being leased onto someone or being a company driver to having your authority is. The ingredient to that. Often people say, "Oh, well, Chad, you're different. You come from money, or you're smarter than others." No, I'm different in a way that I work. I grew up working hard, and that did make me different than most. And when you get your authority, that means you need to work. You need to be able to work hard, because the difference between having your authority and work, like being leased onto someone, or being a company driver is, company driver, there's someone there to tell you what to do, and the company's always going to have a load for you. When you're leased to a carrier, that's what the carrier's doing. He's doing everything for you. He's finding the work for you. When you have your authority, your job is to find your own work, and you have to be motivated to go out and work hard. I guess the reason why I'm saying that and pushing that point so much is I work with a lot of guys, couples, and getting their authority. After they get their authority, they start to have trouble, and they want me to mentor them and find out what's going on, what the problem is. Often the problem is after someone gets their authority is usually the husband will go out and make a ton of money, run 2 or 3 weeks, make a ton of money. They get back home, and usually the wife will tell me this. The husband will get back home and will not leave, will not go back out until they're almost broke again. Yeah, it's so. And then when it's good, it's really good, and when it's bad, it's very bad. Anyway, so that's just one of the points I wanted to make about working hard is that when the things I write about online, I make it sound like getting your authority is amazing and it's beautiful and it's great money. It is all those things. But what comes along with that, you got to remember, Chad comes from working on farms as a kid, and I worked hard as a kid all the way until dark. I grew up like that, and I did that in trucking as well. But the main reason why I wanted to put the Cybertruck in there, this is my latest toy, and so many people. I'm not going to talk about it now, but unless we have time at the end of this, and I will be at the DAT booth and the Triumph booth over in that area. If you do have questions about Tesla and the detailed questions about Tesla, you can come over there and ask me questions about it. I just want to let you know that my main reason of purchasing this is the future of trucking. The technology that's in this car, it's not being invented, it's already invented. And what I mean by that is it's fully electric. It's fully electric. I was at my sister, I was with her out in she lives even more out in the country. And we went to the store, and I remember this older lady was asking me, "It don't take no gas at all? You don't put nothing in it?" It was funny, but there's a lot of people that just doesn't understand this vehicle. No, it's 100% electric. The only fluid you'd put in this vehicle is washer fluid. Maybe you spray some WD-40 on it or something, but washer fluid's the only liquid in it. But the technology, so many people have misunderstanding about it. The technology would be that's very impressive, that's coming to trucking in the future, is I literally in Lexington, Kentucky this morning pulled out of the garage, put in my address. I didn't even put in the address. I used the microphone, told the microphone, send me to Freedom Hall. That's it. It said Freedom Hall. Freedom Hall popped up. I pushed it. And the next button I pushed was like cruise control button that you all would refer to cruise control. And it drove all the way here. The only mishap was it didn't want to stop for the guy that you have to pay to park. It didn't want to stop for that person. It wanted to keep going. I had to apply the brakes and pay. But other than that, and then it'll even park itself. But this is the type of technology that it's not being invented. It's not being created. It's already here. This is here. And in June, robo taxis come out. I think in Austin. Which that won't even have a steering wheel or a gas pedal or a brake. As much as I love Tesla, and I'm a huge Tesla fan, heavily invested in Tesla, love Elon and everything that's going on. But this type of technology over the next 5 years that's in this vehicle will come to semis, and it will affect trucking. Hands down, it will affect the way we do trucking in the future. No matter what, and you can debate that with me all you want, and I'll talk to you over at the Triumph and DAT booth about it. But let's move on to the next one. There's just so many great things about that. Having a vehicle that will drive itself is just amazing. To me, it is. Agenda transition. I mentioned that earlier. And rate per mile masters. If you don't know that, take a screenshot of that. Take a picture of this. If you don't know this Facebook group and you're in trucking, then you're missing out. I would assume at this point everybody already knows about this Facebook group, but it is only about rates and working with brokers and getting your authority. That's all this group talks about, and it's heavily moderated. You're not going to find any junk like you do in other places. I read every single post that gets put in this group, every single comment that gets put in this group. So if you think about it and all the information that gets put into this group, it's almost like reading the Bible 3 times a year, because there's so much information that gets put in there, and having to read it and moderate it, make sure the honesty is what I seek to make sure that happens, is that it stays true. All right, getting your own truck. there's starting off at, getting your authority. Well, first let's get the truck. So there's save up the money, and get a loan from a bank. That's the safest, hardest, and it's still today. The thing that I'm trying to change, wish I could change, and find a better solution, because it's just so many that going through a bank, banks do not want to give a loan. I'll tell you my experience going through a bank. When I first, I was a company driver, and I wanted to buy my first truck, and none of the banks would give me a loan. The only way out was if I did the only way to get my own truck is if I was going to have to do a lease purchase. I hated being forced. We'll give you a truck, but you have to lease to us, and you have to run under our rules. I want to set my own trail, blaze my own thing, and do my own deal. I didn't want to be under nobody else's control, so I had to have my own truck. I could not do the whole lease purchase thing from someone else. So, save up the money. That's going to be the safest, best way to do it. Get a loan from a bank if that can be done. Great. Very unlikely it will unless you have some good collateral. And the traditional lease purchase, most common. That's the one that I struggle with the most with people. I would say almost 80% lease purchase is a bad deal. You're not going to make it. It's not going to work out in your favor. But then, there's 20% out there that you can find some good deals. That it can be done. It's very unlikely. I don't like that way of getting your first truck is the lease purchase. I would rather do some of the alternative ways. The alternative, the last one is the alternative lending or credit cards. And that was the route that I went. I know that sounds silly. It sounds crazy. And everybody says, oh, you got to stay away from credit cards. Credit cards are no good. Credit cards are bad. If you don't know how to manage money, then yeah, credit cards are bad. I knew how to manage money, but I used 4 credit cards. It just made sense to me. Why would you not? It's a 0% interest, and within 6 months, I paid the truck off. It only costed $35,000. The red truck in the background. I got $35,000, put it on credit cards, and that's how I did it. I'm not telling anybody else they need to go use credit card. Recommending that be the route. I would recommend the route I would recommend is having the money saved up, but not a lot of people are going to be able to save up that kind of money. Actually, I had almost zero money. And that's the reason why the credit cards worked out so well for me. But be very cautious about the lease purchase. I don't see too many people succeed with that. And you're not going to lease purchase and get your own authority. You see how that, and I see so many people say, well, I'm going to do this lease purchase and I'm going to run for this company until I get it paid off. So many of those situations and those cases, I was working with a good friend and just seen it with Prime, good company, but as soon as he was getting real close to paying it off, the truck started having problems, and the next thing they started offering my friend was another brand new truck, the latest and greatest brand new Freightliner Cascadia Evolution, and it was like, my gosh, and I said, don't do it, don't sign again, because this is the second time you've done this. It's repeatedly over and over and over that they do that that's the lease purchase, and I would much rather see someone do the way I did it, and $35,000 is what I paid for the Volvo. That's not, I could have easily went and did like the other people do and did the lease purchase for a $150,000 truck and be making payments on it for the next 3 years. No, I paid $35,000 and I paid it off in 6 months and totally free at that point. I know people are scared. Oh, I took a huge risk on a truck with 400,000 miles that something bad might have happened. Well, I had decent credit, and if something did happen, what's the biggest thing with those type of trucks at that time? The biggest thing that would have happened is maybe a $12,000 maintenance bill. That's the other thing. If you don't, getting your authority, I talk about having a decent credit score, and people get mad at me when I talk about having a decent credit score. But that's important. That's important. You need that decent credit score. If you don't have that, then whatever you're doing now, stick with it until you do get a decent credit score. Because when you go into getting your own authority, if you did have the major breakdown, that good credit score will get you a loan to be able to get repaired and get going again. The bad credit, plus the good credit score is also being looked at by the insurance company. It's going to reflect on the type of rates they give you. And the credit score, it simply means if it's a good credit score is you took out a loan and you paid it off. You did what you said you were going to do. It's very important to have a good credit score. If you don't have it, don't be thinking about getting your authority. I think that's all I had on that. Myths about getting your own authority. You need a lease to another carrier first to better prepare for your business. No, you don't need a lease to another carrier. I went from company driver to have my own authority. I didn't see no purpose. I looked at that. Landstar 35. If I lease to them, they're going to take 35%, and then. But if I got my own authority, I could pay $35 and to a load board per month instead of 35%, and I get to work with any broker I want instead of being restricted to what this carrier told me I had to do. I would be able to work with any broker I wanted, and so much more freedom. You don't have to lease on. If you know how to drive a truck, you can get into your own authority without ever having to lease onto it. There is nothing, I don't see no purpose in ever leasing onto someone else. It's just another opportunity for you to fail, for them to fail for you, or they're being under them, and their actions could cause you to fail. Because if they have other trucks, their trucks are going to be taken care of before you. You don't want that. You want your own freedom to be able to do your own thing. You need to know how to work on trucks. Well, I like putting this in there and telling this myth because I know nothing about working on trucks. I know nothing. I'll literally go to the TA and have them change out my windshield wipers. I don't do mud flaps. I mean, literally nothing. I feel like if I'm the driver, then that should be my job, and if the work needs to be done to the truck, then I'll pay. I should have enough money to be able to pay for that, and that's what I did. So you don't have to be. Of course, the more knowledge you have on working on trucks, the better off you're going to be. And I admire those people that know how to work on trucks, because you never know when you're in a situation where you can't get to a shop and you need to do it yourself. It's a bonus, but it's not one of those things where, please don't hold that in your head. I don't know how to work on trucks. I don't want to get my authority. Don't never say that. Okay, you need to have your own customers. You don't need to have your own customers. 99% of all the loads I've ever done in the past 14 years have all 14? Yeah, the last 14 years, 99% has all come from brokers. And it's because I choose to work with brokers. Of course, I could get my own direct shippers and my own direct freight. But when you have your own direct shippers, they want you to take care of they want you to be responsible for all their loads and babysit them, and there's all that comes with it. I don't want that. I wanted to work with brokers. So I mean, and anybody could do the same thing. It's a bonus if you do have your own customers, but it's not required. And the good thing is that if you did want to get your own customers, you could already establish your own customers before you get your authority. I mean, if you really wanted that insurance that you're going to succeed, it's one bonus. Okay. Will brokers work with new authority? I see guys talk about this all the time. Or get discouraged about this all the time. Brokers won't work with me because I have a new authority. There's some truthful to this, but it's not. there's some truthful to that, but I would not. It would not never prevent me. And over the years, I've had my authority for 14 years. January, yeah, 14 years, and that's it's gotten worse over those years on brokers working with you, because technology has gotten better. They're able to identify scams and see things that right now, especially, the market's not really hot. It's not hot. If the market was really hot and there was a lot more freight than trucks, then the problem goes away real fast. Brokers will work with anybody. It's rolling, your vehicle rolls. We don't care about your insurance. We'll give you the load. I'm just kidding. They do care about insurance. My sister's looking at me. but you see what I'm saying. Brokers, they start opening up their doors to a whole lot more people. So here's the thing. If you're new at getting your authority, and you're having that problem where so many brokers are not working with you because you are new, then you need to focus more on running in very high demand areas. Very high demand areas. Because those high demand areas, they start getting a little relaxed on their rules and what they require. You need to have a lot of money saved up to start your own business. That's a myth. It's a myth. The more you have, the better. Of course, it's the more of a chance that you're going to succeed and make it. But again, I started off with zero. Started off with the same credit cards that I used to buy the truck. I also used to buy McDonald's because I had no money at all. I had gotten injured at McLean. If anybody that my First, I'll rewind here and go back to whenever I did 10 years in the Marine Corps. When I got out of the Marine Corps, a little bit about myself. The reason why I got into trucking was because back then, that was in 2006, and back then we used newspapers, and all the newspapers had trucking ads. So that was the job I took on, was driving a truck. And my first driving job was TMC. My second driving job was McLean. Those are good high-paying jobs, but they're also very physical labor-intensive jobs. If anybody know McLean? McLean food. All right. So McLean type of work is you're doing about 20 stops per load that you take out. You're going to do about 20 stops at mom and pop gas stations, and you're delivering for all the freight that's inside that 53-foot trailer. You're delivering it on a hand truck going up and down a ramp. Anyway, after 3 years of that, I shot my knee and had to get surgery. Anyway, that put me out. Being out of work for so long, that's the reason why I didn't have any. My money became very low, and it was being hard to survive. And towards like 9 months time frame of being out of work, I had to send my wife and kids to Japan and live with my in-laws. I was living in a motel, no money at all, and I'm like, what am I going to do? And so my thinking was, as far as getting, I can go. I got a CDL. Anybody will hire me to go do a CDL. Cannot go back to McLean and go up and down the ramp because I still had a messed up knee. And I said, I've always wanted to be an owner-operator and have my own truck and do my own thing. But everybody always put fear in. All the other drivers would put fear and say, "Oh, you won't make money at it. You won't make it as an owner-operator. You don't want to do it." So, but at that point, I had nothing to lose. I'd already sold. Had someone renting my house because I couldn't pay the mortgage on it, and that's the reason I was in the motel, and I had nothing to lose. So why not? I mean, if I lose at it and I don't make it, I still have a CDL. I can still go get a company job anywhere else, and that's how I got into starting with my own authority. Zero money, and I was able to make it work. So you don't need to have a lot of money saved up. Next slide. Okay. Now, starting out, what was important, what I liked so much about when I first got started was again, growing up, with very, very limited money. My mother, she didn't have very much money. So growing up poor like that, it made me very excited about having a job that paid really well. The Marine Corps for 10 years, that really doesn't pay a whole lot. And the TMC and McLean, those were better paying jobs than most, but not that the pay wasn't massive. But when I got my authority, it was massive. This was the first time I ever seen money this big, and I wanted as much of it as I could. And I did. I would put together tools, my own spreadsheets, my own tools, so that I could fine-tune my art and be able to maximize how much money I could make. I wanted to make more, and I got into social media, and I would talk to other friends, how much money they're making, what they're doing. Before we were on Facebook, for me, it was my friends and my contacts. I would call them up and, where are you at? What'd you pick up? Where are you going? It was all day long. I wanted to be the number one person that got the most money, and I would put my own tools together. Anyway, this is going to be one of the most basic tools that you'll find on DAT. Is this Excel spread? Is this chart to the left? I forgot my laser, but this chart to the left is this is the most basic tool you'll find on DAT. DAT is a load board. I'm sure everybody knows about it. It's the load board I've always used from day one. And the DAT would probably would rather for me to talk about all their other tools, which is they have other tools that are a lot more greater than this. This is the most basic tool, but this is how I want to explain to you. For me, what's important, because I run the spot market and work with brokers, I always want to go from one good area to another good area. I never want to end up in a bad area, because the bad areas, they're called black O's. You're not going to be able to get any freight out of those places. So basically what I do is I copy all the loads that are going in and all the loads that are going out. And then then I put it into my own Excel spreadsheet. I put an arrow up there to the formula on how I do this, on how I divide it. First, then I want to grab all the states with the highest number of loads leaving it. I take that number, I take those states, and then I take it and which out of those states, get rid of all the states that have more loads going in than going out, because those loads going into the state is going to be your competition, because those same drivers, they're going to want freight too. So I want a state that's got more loads leaving it than going in it, and then I want to go to the highest ratios, and that's where I do divide it, and then I do the highest ratios, and then from that list. I fine-tuned it down from, I think we start off with 16. I always start off with 16. 16 of the states with the highest number of loads. I use 16 because I break down the lower 48 into three parts. 16 is 48, and then so the top 16, that's your best, and then you have your middle, and then you have your worst. Well, then I break it down again. Then I think this list comes out to 9. Now I have 9. These are the 9 states that I will only go to. Now, will I go to the other states? I will, but I'll let the broker know up front that I'm taking my backhaul with me. And what that means is if I go to any other state other than these states that I'm going to be able to make money in, then I gotta get enough money going into that state that will get me to one of these states. Because any of these other states already has more trucks than they need. So I need to be able to take my backhaul with me, be able to get out of these states and get into those states. So that's how I do it. And then from that list is still too long with 9 states on it. I like doing things in threes. So out of that list, these are the only acceptable states. I don't pick the best out of here. I pick what works the best, what I like the most from this list. And from that list, you have Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. Those are my the three favorite states for me. And the reason why they're my three favorites is because I live in Kentucky. It's easy to get up there, go do those states, and get back home. There's just one way of doing it. And this is how I've always done it. And, so many people go anywhere. When they post their truck on DET, they'll tell the broker they'll go anywhere, haul anything. But the broker will say, it's not true. These guys will not go some places, or their rates are so crazy that, that they're not worth talking to. But what's the number one thing brokers always want? And I talk to brokers. I probably have in my group of 36,000, 37,000, I probably have more brokers in this group than any other forum that I know of. And what the number one thing brokers want, they want to know where you want to go. That's the number one thing brokers want. It's not because they're going to offer you a cheaper rate. It's because there's more of a chance of you doing their load and success taking place if they know where you want to go. So you always want to post where you want to go. Don't never leave destination blank, because it's just not as good. You're not going to get a good response from brokers. The brokers that have those, if the next slide's getting into what I'm going to talk about next. But any questions about this right here so far? All right, so here's the next part I was going to explain. All right, every mega trucking company started with a dumbbell. A dumbbell is basically, okay, I pointed out that I'll give you an example. A dumbbell is basically Lexington, Kentucky is where I live at, and the area that I like going to the most is Nashville, Tennessee. And so to make this work, the way I would do this is I would always look for loads leaving Lexington and going to Nashville, and from Nashville back to Lexington. This was a lane that I wanted to do, and I worked it all the time. Posted my truck. I wanted to go from Lexington to Nashville, Nashville to Lexington, and it takes time to build this, but that was the only thing I would run. And brokers became familiar with that. This Boblet Brothers Trucking always posts he wants to go to Nashville, Tennessee. And then when he's in Nashville, he's wanting to go to Lexington. The brokers became very familiar with that. And over time, the calls became more and more. It's like as soon as the broker got one of those loads that was running this lane, I would be the first. The broker already knew. Call Chad. Chad's always posting this link. This Boblet Brothers, even if they didn't know me, they knew my name. They knew the Boblet Brothers name, and they would say, "Call Boblet Brothers." Because this guy's always looking for this lane, and so then the next step in doing a dumbbell is I started getting to pick out of all the loads that's leaving Lexington. I started being able to find the best freight leaving Lexington and going back to Lexington out of Nashville. I'd be able to find the best freight, and that usually and how does that relate to every mega truck company started with this? Well, what happens after when you do this? When you do this and you start working this, and that's all you're doing, that same lane over and over and over, is the shippers and receivers, you start ending up at the same places, and they start to get to know you, and that forms a relationship. Once the relationship is formed with those shippers and receivers, you're going to start. They are going to want to, if they can't get a hold of the broker to move a load, they're going to remember you, and you're going to be the person they're going to call and talk to. So now you're working with the shippers and the receivers and not a broker, and doing that one lane dumbbell. And then what's the third part of that? Once you start working with the shippers and receivers, and you have your own direct customers that's running this lane, it happens every single time. Talk to any mega carrier and they'll tell you is that those shippers will have more freight than you and your one truck can do. What is the answer to? And if you have a good customer, you are going to want to satisfy, keep them happy so they don't go to some other carrier. So the way to keep them set, to be able to service that customer, get more trucks. That's the reason why I say every mega trucking company started with a dumbbell. And this dumbbell that I actually I started from Lexington to Nashville. The shipper actually forced the broker to only use me only, and it turned into a situation where I was actually picking up their trailers, preloaded trailers, and in Lexington, and I would take it to Nashville, and I would deliver a preloaded trailer, and I would pick up an empty trailer and bring it right back. So it was like the easiest money you can make in trucking, and I would get paid. I got paid great money, and the shipper forced the broker to use me, and I got the same rate throughout the whole entire time. It was the best part. It was a great experience. But anyway, any questions about the dumbbell?
So do you not run that lane anymore, you're saying?
I don't anymore.
Why is that?
Well, it was
Certain situation.
yeah, just certain situation. I mean, if I would go back. Basically, the company I was working with, I think they lost the account or something. I don't know what to do is, but it fell off. I mean, I started another dumbbell from Lexington to Cincinnati. That was sweet because it's only 100 miles. Actually, it was the dumbbell for this one was it wasn't the next one that I started was Cincinnati to Louisville, but I live in Lexington and had to go to Cincinnati. It was like a little triangle. Actually, that one ended up. I ended up ruining that one because they asked me. They said, well, "Why does the product when it gets delivered? It was medical supplies. Why does the product when it gets delivered have bird droppings on the product?" And I said, "Because it was in a warehouse, a hangar. Like a hangar they put airplanes in. The product was in there, and birds would fly in, and it would get on the medical supplies." Anyway, the way I end up ruining that is I should have just kept my mouth shut, because as soon as I told them that, they end up, we're not going to fly our medical supplies into the Cincinnati airport anymore. So I should have I shouldn't have even said anything to them, because then I I had to go off. Then they wanted me to go all the way to Columbus, I think. Anyway, that's that deal. Pro tips. The easiest way to improve your rate per mile is to know your rate per mile. Yes, absolutely. I don't have the Excel spreadsheet with me at the moment, but on my computer at home, I could pull up an Excel spreadsheet of every single load I've ever done. As soon as the load is complete, I know what the rate per mile is. If you want to improve your rate per mile, you already have your authority, and you want to improve your rate per mile, my advice is the first thing you do is you got to know what your rate per mile is. What was it before the week? Keep those averages and know that number. It's just the same thing with fuel. Fuel, the easiest way to say, if you want to save on your mile per gallon, the easiest way is to know what it is. If not, you'll never know whether you're saving or not, or doing good. All right. You cannot negotiate unless you know the mileage, including your deadhead. Yeah. All right. You got to know your mileage. You got to, and knowing your mileage is not asking the broker what the miles is. I mean, no matter what, I don't know what it is. I don't know what program brokers use, but for whatever reason, their mileage is always less than what my mileage is when I put it together. That has to be before you ever get into talking to a broker about the rate. Don't never get into talking to the broker about rates. It's the last thing you do. But after you first need to know what the rate, how many miles is going to be from where you're at to where you got to pick it up to where you're delivering it. What is the total number of miles? And then you could talk about the rate. Until you know that number, nothing else. And I remember TQL. I like TQL, but TQL used to say, TQL used to say, "Oh, well, we don't pay for your deadhead to go pick it up." I'm like, well, I got to get money somehow or another to go get it. But anyway, I've always been a stickler about knowing what that number is, and I keep up with it. So yeah, mileage. Brokers do not know truck mileage. Do not use miles the brokers tell you, which is I just mentioned. Tell the brokers what you want per mile on all miles. Don't ask how much will you pay me. I do mentorship with one-on-one with guys while they're talking to a broker, and I listen to how the conversation is going. And it's probably one of the things that I pick up on right off the bat is the service provider, the truck driver, the carrier wants to tell the broker, ask the broker, how much will you give me? I find it a lot more success. Success comes from you telling the broker how much you're going to do the load for. When you tell that there's just so much more success. Often once they have that number, they can go to the shipper, they can go to their boss and get those numbers approved. They can start the negotiation process. If DAT has rate view, and that tells you the rate on all lanes. If you know that would probably be so knowing your mileage and knowing what the rate is on rate view would be number two. But it'd be like the number two thing you did before you told the broker what your rate is going to be. So don't ask the broker how much will you give me. You tell the broker how much. You tell them what you'll do the load for, and that's a number you should know if you have your own authority. That's what carriers do. Oh well, I went through that pretty quick. And in good time, because I can take on questions. All right, so I'm gonna leave. I'm down to I'm limiting the number of companies I work with, and right now I only work with 4 companies. These 4 companies are not related; they don't work with each other. It's just 4 companies I have singly picked out as being the best for what they offer. We'll start off with Reliance Partners. Natalia, she's not in the crowd. But if you go to the Facebook group and you ever ask me, our representative is Natalia, and for insurance, when it comes to insurance, I used to partner with another company out of Louisville. They couldn't take on all the customers I would bring them, and then even when I started with the Reliance. I brought them so many customers that they were having a little bit of difficulties at the beginning. So they gave me the best person they have at Reliance to take care of my people. So that's what you get if you go to Reliance. Let's talk about Triumph. Triumph is a factoring service. They also do. They offer other products as well, but the factoring they are a bank, so they do lending for trucks. But don't confuse that with they do lending for trucks if you're a fleet of 15 or more. So don't think that, if I go with the Triumph, I'll be able to get lending. You will if you're maybe 10 or 15, maybe 10 trucks or more. But most of my audience doesn't have 10 trucks. But when it comes to factoring, there is no other better service than Triumph. The way I look at Triumph is, who do you want managing your money? Do you want Triumph is a bank. That's who I want managing my money, is a bank. Most other I ain't gonna say most, but many other factoring companies are factoring companies owned by a broker. Do you really want a broker managing your money, or do you want a bank managing your money? That's the way I look at that. Triumph. Another thing I'll add is my group does 85 million year over year. A Facebook group is doing 85 million year over year in sales through Triumph. And how many problems do I address out of all, so much? That's a lot of money. 85 million. It's more, I mean, just to wrap my head around it, it's like, wow, I cannot believe it's so big. But how many problems do you think I see out of that 85, out of so much business happening? Zero. The only time I ever see a problem with Triumph is when Triumph rejects and will not work with someone. They'll say, well, why won't Triumph work with me? I don't know. But but that's the only time I ever see a problem with them. All right, Highway. Highway's the next one I want to talk about is Highway. Highway is does anybody, how many people in here know Highway? Okay, all right. Now, out of those that know Highway, do you give thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay, we got. Well, it looks like maybe about even. Some like, some don't. Killing the carriers. Now, I hear you. The reason I asked that question, is because the carriers that are set up with Highway and that are approved with Highway and that are doing good with, Highway has a lot of rules. I understand it. I get it, and it's almost hard to keep up with everything that Highway wants. But those that have the green light with Highway is not complaining about Highway. They are thankful. They are happy because the reason why is because brokers are just high. This is the Highway is the latest, the greatest. They vet carriers, make sure and prevent fraud, and brokers love this company and love using Highway. And if you are Highway approved, if the broker sees that you're Highway approved and they need a load moved, you're golden to them. Okay, they want you. So yes, yeah, I hear the frustration. And that's the reason why I asked the question at the very beginning. Because a lot of people, I know their hiccups. If you go buy, this is how particular Highway is. If you go buy a truck with a VIN number, if you go buy a truck from someone that committed fraud and they use that same truck VIN number to commit fraud with, that VIN number follows it into the Highway system. And now that truck reappears under your name because you went and bought it. It's almost like, yeah, you're innocent because you just bought a truck, but because you bought a truck from someone that committed fraud with that truck, it's flagged in the Highway system that VIN number has committed fraud in the past. So if you don't have a green light with Highway, work on it. You got to get it. It's the thing that brokers are using. And I mean, just here's the one piece of advice I want to say about Highway is, ever since Highway has been created, we have not seen a hot market. We have not seen a hot market. And the reason why I'm making that point is when the market flips and we do see a hot market like we have in the past, right after COVID, when we see another event like that, and you're Highway approved, and all these brokers, they're like, I already see complaints from brokers. We can't find any approved carriers. So that means the ones that are approved are are making good money from it. But whenever the market does flip and we go in and it gets really hot, and brokers are really struggling finding approved carriers, when they do find that approved carrier, man, you're going to be able to name your rate. And the last one I want to talk about is DAT. DAT I've been with, I think, from the beginning. My Facebook group is 11 years old. And they were the first people that I brought on, and I've been with ever since. It's the largest load board if you're going to get your own authority. The reason why I love DAT so much is because whenever if it wasn't for DAT, where would I have gotten my freight from? I used them at the very beginning to find my freight, and I was able to start my business and keep my business going from the freight that I found on DAT, and use the tools to be able to better craft my business. I got 10 minutes left. Let's anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Mal.
I may have missed it because I walked away.
Zero. Zero right now. Right now, yeah, zero. I still have my authority. The most at the most would have been two. Would have been two. I leased on. I tried leasing on another truck. That I didn't like the idea. I'm too much of a. I like to be in control. I like to micromanage, and the other person didn't like to be being micromanaged, so they didn't stay with me very long.
And he takes the tricks and tips for dads.
For DAT?
Yeah, because they come on, come off, come on, come off, the loads.
Oh.
Any tips and tricks?
Absolutely. If you go to the Facebook group that I showed, are you part of the group?
No, but I wrote it down.
Oh, good.
And joined it.
Well, awesome. That is the beginning step because that's 11 years of history of me talking about nothing but tips and tricks and everything that I can think. That's the Facebook group was basically was started so that I could show those tips and tricks. That's all I do. I could be up here for 8 hours telling you all the things I've learned off of DAT and the ways to make more money and the ways to negotiate the market. But that first one is the first tool that I created myself.
We're definitely going to look into that. Thank you.
Anything else? Let's see if I have one more slide. Nope, that does it. Well, this is the first time I was able to end on time. No questions. My name was Chad Boblet. Join my Facebook group. It was great to meet you.